Excellent. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Dr. Vong here. Super excited to have you on this broadcast. I got my very good friend, Mr. Chris, on the broadcast with us tonight. We're going to talk about some real estate, right? Chris Naugle is a real famous money mentor, America's #1 money mentor, real estate investor, and he's on to show us about the proper mindset it's going to take to make money, the proper money mindset. So, man, get your favorite beverage ready, sit back, get ready. We're going to have a great time. We got some free training available for you guys today. So I'll put that link up. It's completely free. Here, let me see. Here we go. There we go. You get some free training. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And with that, I'm going to bring on my good buddy, Mr. Chris Naugle.
Hey,
what's
everybody.
up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's the new baby doing?
Oh, she's good. She's good. She's actually kind of sleeping through the night now. We're getting like 6 to 7 hours on a regular basis. So
Nice.
I think the bags under my eyes are starting to go down a little bit. But yeah, no, it's great, man. I'm loving it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how's your wife? She recovering? Everyone doing good?
She's recovering. She's doing well, trying to get into the groove. She in the early part, we weren't sleeping at all. Now she's having trouble actually sleeping, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
I never had a hard time sleeping. I just fell asleep, but she didn't.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, baby. I know that's a super exciting time in your life. You've also had some previous exciting times in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Why should my people be listening to you?
Oh my gosh,
stable, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I've been self-employed since 16 years old. I grew up in a lower middle-class family. I mean, I just literally put up a post about how my mom, who I call the unconditional one, my mom never chased her dreams. And when I was 16, I had a terrible job. I quit that job and I told mom I wanted to open a clothing line in the basement, which I did. But then the next year when I was 17, I wanted to open a store. I wanted to have my own store called Fat Man, P-H-A-T, Fat Man Snowboard shop. And, as a 17-year-old, I was oblivious to money. I was never surrounded with money. I never had money growing up. I grew up in a small, like 800 square foot, 2-bedroom house, and we barely had enough to get by. But my mom watched me almost give up this dream, which is all I talked about. All I drew pictures about was this store. And then when it all came down to it, I needed collateral to collateralize the loan. And my mom put her house, the only thing she had, because she got it in a divorce, she put her house up as collateral. So her crazy 17-year-old punk snowboard kid could chase his dream. And that's where I literally entered the world of, oh my gosh, I better figure this out. Yeah. And that was 17 years old. A lot has happened since then. I've gone on to be a professional snowboarder. I went on to, when I had my stores and was doing the snowboarding in the early 2000s, when the recession hit, the early .com crash, I had to get a job. That landed me in Wall Street. It landed me on as a financial advisor. And I did that from 2003 all the way to 2018. And I was one of the top advisors for the 2 firms that I worked for, technically 3 firms, but I was one of the top 3 guys almost every year that I was there. And I learned so much about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, being a stockbroker. And I also learned so much about what you shouldn't do that we are taught to do.
And you Series 7?
Oh, I had 7, 6, 66, 63. Holy crap. I could go on. CLTC. I had more freaking initials after my name than I even can remember. And you know what? It was all great in the time, but useless today. Like I don't need any of it.
In the financial field, in other words, is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I've been, I'm not an expert just because I was an advisor. There's tons of advisors. There's tons of guys and gals that were doing what I was doing. Here's what makes me an expert. I have failed so many times that I have failed my way to learn what exactly not to do. But not only did I fail, something unique happened the third time, like one of the big monumental failures I had, not the 2008 crash, because I failed then, but the 2014 one. That was the one that hit me the hardest because that one, I thought I had it. I thought I was getting back. I had 36 units. I was an advisor. Life was good. And all the stuff, everything just got pulled from right underneath me because of some things that I didn't know about how to borrow and how to use banks for loans. And when that bank froze all my lines and called my mortgages, I was done. At that point, and many of your audience might kind of realize this or have been there before. I hit a new low in my life. I hit a low where all I did every single day was blame everything else around me. I blamed everyone else. I blamed business partners. I blamed the economy. I blamed everything for this period, for this position I was in, which was a position that probably was clinically depressed, but I never went, to the doctor for it. But I was at rock bottom so bad that me and my now wife, Larissa, we split then because it just got so hard. We sold our dream house, and I went to Thailand for a month with a backpack. Yeah, I went to Thailand for a month with a backpack with my best friend, Jack. And I literally had to go find myself and literally like pull myself up almost from like the back. I had to grab my shirt and pull myself up and say, you know what, get your shit together and get out there and change things. Well, that landed me in a 3-day event. But I didn't go to this 3-day event to learn how to flip houses. I went because I wanted the free iPod Shuffle. And they lured me into this 3-day event because I wanted that darn iPod Shuffle. And I had nothing to lose, but I had that to gain. So at this 3-day event, the biggest thing that happened for me is I met 2 people. I met Mike and Greg. When I heard these guys talk, they were big real estate investors, and Greg was the bank. He's the guy that lent all the money. And I heard them discussing money, and what they talked about were things that I was never taught as an advisor. They were things that I never knew about. They were the complete opposite of everything I'd been taught my whole life. Wow. At that point, I went on a journey, and an expensive journey. I spent just about everything I could spend to follow these guys around, to follow other mentors around, and I became addicted to putting myself in environments where I was surrounded by multimillionaires, billionaires. That's where we met, Secret Knock. I was in Secret Knock because of the people at Secret Knock I needed to be around. I needed to understand their mindset. I needed to understand what they did with money, how they used it, what the things they didn't do. And I started seeing these patterns. And folks, just so everybody knows, this is a 6-year journey, and this is all that I did. And during this journey, I started taking what I learned and what I didn't learn, and I found out that the wealthy do things different with money, and things very different. We're going to talk about a lot of those things.
We're going to talk about that tonight. And you started buying real estate, and we're not going to talk about real estate tonight, but you've done, is it safe to say, north of $50 million worth of real estate?
Oh, it's probably more than that. We've done 259 flips, almost on 260 because we're closing in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I've had a rental portfolio as much as almost 100 units. I'm down to 53 units now because I'm trying to sell it off because the market's so high. We had a show on HGTV, me and my wife, called Risky Builders. I don't even talk about that, but I guess that's kind of a big deal. But yeah, so
I love that. That's a great summary. A little young entrepreneur, became a professional snowboarder, had your own chain of snowboard skate shops, and went into the financial services, lost it all, refound yourself, reinvented yourself with real estate and this mindset. All right. So I want to turn it over to you. You have a PowerPoint you want to share with us? How would you like to do this?
I do. Yeah. I mean, one of the things as a kid, and this is an important takeaway, I didn't have money, I didn't have things, so I had my vision, right? I was able to dream. Mom always taught me to dream, and part of my dreaming when I was a kid was largely due to drawing things and putting them on paper. I always believed that if I wanted something, if I envisioned it, and I put it on paper, that would become reality. If you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that is exactly what it's about. If you believe it and you dream it, you can achieve it. Well, I can tell you that has happened so many times, from BMX bikes to dirt bikes to BMX tracks to half pipes. Everything that I envisioned, I drew. So I have literally created something for all of you, literally specifically for this. I created an entire chart of 3 different charts to teach you some things that you absolutely must know about money. And I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about any stuff in the weeds, but I want you to understand that we all have a big problem, and that problem is the money problem. Okay. It might be your money problem, but it is the money problem. And we need to discuss that money problem because most people don't even know there's a problem. But you know what? If you lived back in the time before toothpicks, you didn't know there was a problem that toothpicks solved. When you lived in a time before Q-tips, you didn't know there was a problem Q-tips solved. And I could go on and on. Well, right now we live in a time where there's a money problem and we don't understand what that problem is. And I'll tell you what it is. That problem is we are not in control of our money. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to do it through storyboards. And I've also got something really, Dr. V mentioned it, but I put together a training. a free training at that. It's about 50 minutes long. And I'm telling you, so good. It's right there. I think you got the link up. Yep. There you go. So there's the link, folks. So right now, before I even get into this, I'm going to teach you a lot today, but this video right here will teach you a ton. I spent a lot of time putting this video together, and I haven't really been talking about it a lot, but now there it is for free. You just go to moneyschoolrei.com/DuckV and you get the training for free.
Yeah. Hey, listen, let me tell you guys real quick. Chris is the real deal. This is exclusive to Dr. V. This is normally a paid thing, and if you follow that specific link, you'll get it for free. It's normally $97 or something, right?
Yeah, it's normally $97, but it's free. I mean,
it's free for you because you're watching on this video right now. So take advantage of this. I will leave that link up. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's
okay.
run it, brother.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to share my screen here. I've got a little PowerPoint that we're going to walk through here, and let's see. Got to find it. And it disappeared, of course. Hang on one second. We got to get that PowerPoint back up. There we go. All right, so you guys can see this here. So it's a little slow, so just bear with me. I got to change my display. Perfect. All right, so this is not the right one. Son of a pup. Folks, I'm sorry. We did this a second ago and it worked, and now all of a sudden I can't find the right one. But here, I'll get it.
Come on, Chris. That's your pro.
I had it up a second ago.
I just want to clarify while you're pulling that up, brother. I'm gonna that's graphics that you yourself drew, right?
I did. Yeah, I drew all those graphics. Yep. All right, I should have it now. There it is. All right, now we're cooking. Great. Probably have to swap it again. Yep. All right, this is the right one. Sorry about that, folks. Here we go. So let me ask you this. What is your permission slip? When you really think about like a permission slip, right? You think back to school when you had to go get a permission slip to go to the bathroom. You had to get a permission slip from your mom to, take a day off of school. But like in life, like what is your permission slip? Is it money? Is it hustling? Is it working? Is it freedom? Something is your permission slip. And I always tell people when they ask me, I tell them money is my permission slip. But a lot of people think of money as something evil, something bad. Money isn't bad. Money isn't evil. It can be used for evil and bad things. But you know what money is? It's a tool. It's a tool just like the shovel in your garage. It's the tool just like the drill in the tool shed. That's all it is. It's used to solve a problem. Well, for me, it's my permission slip to live the perfect day. It's my permission slip to send a check to my mom every single week so she doesn't have to work anymore. It's my permission slip to do the things I want to help people. And in doing that, the biggest problem is something that Will Rogers says. And Will Rogers says the biggest problem in America is not what people don't know. The problem is what people think they know that just ain't so. I want you to just for a moment, I want to take you on a little journey. I want you to think about a time when you've been at an event or you've been around a group of people that are positive, they're excited, they're successful, they're doing the things you want to do. You're in this circle of people and you're all talking about big things, the future. You're talking about, you winning. They're talking about you being successful. When you're in that group of people, you feel like almost invincible. You feel like you can tackle the world. You feel like there's nothing you can't do. You're motivated. You're driven. You're positive. But then all of a sudden, after the event, after the convention, you come home and you put yourself in the circle around the people that you're usually with. Now, for me, that was my best friend and some very negative people that I used to be around. And I get around them and all of a sudden it was all negative talk. Oh, look at the world, this COVID thing, all the negative stuff you can talk about is all we talked about. And then what happened is everything that I had that was positive over on this side from that event just disappeared and it just became negative. And as that negativity kept going, the momentum of that negativity pushed me further and further and further down. And I kept lacking for that feeling I had. Have any of you ever had that feeling? But the problem is we all have. You've been high on something like, not, I don't mean high like that, but I mean, you've been in that high place where you're just energized, you're full of energy. And then you've been at that low place. Look at the people you're surrounded with. in either one of those scenarios, and really take a look at that and decide, do you want to be around the people that made you feel good, that made you feel like you could tackle the world, or do you want to be around the people that just bring you down? This statement that Will Rogers is exactly that. Stop taking advice from people that think they know what they don't know. Stop living your life to what people tell you you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. People that haven't lived the life you want determine your future. And we allow this. So don't do that. And that's kind of where we're going to get into my drawings here. Now, at the top, what is your permission slip? And are you truly in control of your life and your money? Well, I can tell you right now, you're not. And we're going to walk through an example of what I mean by that. Because a lot of people, when I say that, you're not in control of your money, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, it doesn't even make sense. You're like, sure I am. Well, let's put that to the test with some art and some kind of crazy drawings. Right here. What did you do when you were young? You went to school. And in school, what did they teach you to do? When you went to school, you graduated from high school. Then you went to college and you got through all the courses in college. And really, what were they teaching you to do? Well, you picked a profession, you kind of picked something you wanted to do, and they taught you how to be a good employee. Now, you may not like hearing that, but you know what? The truth hurts. But that's really what you learned in school. You learned how to be a good employee. You learned how to go get a job. You learned you got your graduation, your diploma. And what's the first thing you did? You started filling resumes out for jobs, jobs. Okay, where you were going to trade hours for dollars. That's what we were taught to do and what we were trained to do. And there's nothing wrong with this, folks. But think about it. That's what you were taught to do. You weren't taught to make your money work for you. You weren't taught how to budget. You weren't taught how money works. You weren't taught how to go out there and actually make your money work harder than you. No, you were taught how to be a good worker, how to be a good employee, and how to work hard for the things you want. And in doing that, that resulted in a paycheck. So you got your paycheck, and if you got a really good job, they had a 401k. So my grandma always taught me, if you get a good job, ask them, Chris. Ask them if they've got a 401k, and ask if they got that match thing. Because, Chris, you don't want to live like me and Grandpa, where we have to work into our retirement. Because, Chris, I want to tell you that we don't want to work into retirement. We're working because we have to, not because we want to. And you need to change things. You need to do things different, Chris. So when you get a job, put money in that 401k. This is what I was taught. But everybody's taught about the same thing. You get the job, it's got the 401k. So what do? You start putting money in. They made it really easy. And that 401k, essentially, what you're doing with that is you are giving up control of your money. You're giving up control of your good dollars today. Your dollars today, okay, if you took a I don't know if you can see me, but if you took a $20 bill, and you had this money, your $20 bill is worth the most right now. Tomorrow it's worth less. Next year it's worth far less because of inflation. And they just printed $2 trillion. So we're putting our money in the 401k and we're giving up control of our good dollars today. And then I'm not saying 401ks are bad. I want to be very clear. 401ks are a good thing if used properly. But most people, that's all that they know. So they put as much as they can. And then they have no control, no access to that money to take it out and use it for opportunities.
Can I put together real quick and ask you a question? Because I want to make sure that people understand that. I think for me, that's a really big point, what you just said there, which is the $2 trillion they just printed in the United States is not free. And the reason why it's not free is because it's devaluing your current money you have saved up. Your 401k, I don't care what the stock market says, is worth less because your dollars are worth less. Am I right, Chris?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when they print $2 trillion, what a lot of people don't realize is that $2 trillion steals value. It becomes valuable by stealing your value of your money. Your $20 or dollar, whatever it is, it loses value when they print money. It's called inflation, folks. You know of inflation as a gallon of milk costs more money, or a loaf of bread costs more, but it doesn't actually cost more. That loaf of bread, that gallon of milk doesn't cost more, but what it does is it requires more of your weaker dollars to buy the same thing. It's right. Not that the material or the thing you're buying costs more, it's your dollars are worth less. Think of that picture from way back when of that guy with the wheelbarrow full of cash, and he was just trying to buy a loaf of bread. Folks, we're headed there. Like they keep printing money, it makes your money worth less. So when you're putting money in a 401k, you're giving up your best dollars. The dollars that are worth the most that you could do something with today, and you're putting them away, and you're waiting till 5, 10, 15, 20 years, till 59 and a half, until you can take that money out. And when you take it out, you're paying tax on a higher amount. You're literally compounding the tax. But our whole lives, if I asked everybody on here, would you rather pay tax on the seed or the harvest? What would you say? You'd say the seed, right? But you're doing the exact opposite when you're putting money in a 401k. You're getting a tax deduction on the seed and you're paying tax on the harvest. Think about it. Your money goes up, right? Hopefully it goes up in the markets. No bets on that one right now, but you put your good dollars away today, you take out weaker dollars later, and those weaker dollars are taxed higher because you made more money or taxes went up. Then you take that money out, and we're supposed to think that, retirement is this fancy, unbelievable time where we just sail off into the sunset, into this thing called retirement. Well, I don't meet many people that's what retirement looks like. I meet a lot of people that retirement hits and they're like, I just don't have enough. I can't retire. They keep working. They keep working. They keep working. That's the reality. But this is what you've been doing. And then if you need the money, if an emergency happens or you need the money for an opportunity and you take it out, you're penalized 10%. Maybe not right now because of the CARES Act. They waived that 10% and you pay tax on the money. You pay tax on the harvest. So I'm going to get off that, but let's get back to, you got this job, you got your paycheck, and what's the next thing you do after the money goes into the 401k? The money gets deposited into your bank. Now, the bank's the biggest thing, and we're going to cover banks and how they work tonight. But the bank, you put the money in the bank, and once it hits the bank, what do? Just like at the bottom, you start paying bills. And statistically, the Americans give up 90 cents of every single dollar to somebody else. Literally, that's the numbers. And I could break it down for you, but 90 cents of every dollar you make goes to somebody else. Credit cards, debts. Just think about everything you spend money on. Go through your budget, right? Every month, go through your checkbook. Look at all the money that you write checks for, all the money that comes out in bill pays. It goes to somebody else. And the amount that's left, the amount that you have left at the end of that time, what does that money do? Well, it stays in your savings. Right? So you pay all your bills, and after you get done with these bills, which kind of looks like this guy, your dreams are being erased because you're just like, how am I ever going to, fulfill my dreams? How am I ever going to do that stuff I want to do? Well, I got to pay these bills. I got to pay these bills. I got to work harder. But the money goes into the savings account. Now, here's the real thing. We just talked about inflation. So how much is inflation? Well, it's different. It changes, but it's essentially 2 to 3%. Okay, that's about what inflation is. And inflation, folks, is a hidden tax. Don't make two ways about it. And if you don't believe me, read the book Creature from Jekyll Island. That book will tell you, it'll scare you, but that book will tell you that inflation is nothing more than a purposeful hidden tax. But your money goes into your savings account, whatever's left, usually 10% by the number I just gave you, but the average American is only saving 6%. So there's a 4% hole somewhere, but it doesn't matter. But you put the money in your savings, and how much is your savings account paying you? 0? 1%? Is anyone getting 2% on their savings account?
No, those days are gone, brother.
Right. So just look at the math I just did there. If you're putting your money in your savings and that money's sitting there because, i.e., it's an emergency fund, it's there for an emergency, you're essentially losing 1%. And that's assuming that you're making 1% on your savings. So if you're making 1% and you're losing 2 to inflation, could be even more, you're losing 1%. So your money is literally being evaporated right underneath your nose, and you don't even know what's happening, but yet you think you're in control of your money. The bank's in control of your money. The financial companies are in control of your money. You are not. You think just because you can go take your money out of the bank, which try that one right now. Any of you that have 10 grand or more, do a little exercise. Go to your bank and tell them you want to withdraw all of your money. And some banks will allow it, but most will not. I've heard this story over and over. They'll say, well, you can only take 3,000 out now. How does that make you feel when you got all your money in the bank and you entrusted them to hold your money because of FDIC, which is, look that one up, that'll scare you too. But you put all your money in the bank and then you go to take it all out because you need it or you just want it. And the bank says, no, we can't give you it all today. We can only give you 3,000 or 5,000 today. But if you come back tomorrow, we can give you another 3 or 5. And you look at the teller and you're like, no, actually,
my money.
I need that money today. It's my money. I gave that money to you. It's not yours. It's mine. So I'd like all my money back. And the teller brings the manager over and you have this whole riff. And eventually you don't get your money until you come back the next day. And when you do take that money out, you just get all the money in a suitcase and you walk out? No, you got to fill out paperwork. There's all sorts of paperwork you got to fill out. Oh my God, God forbid you're money laundering. God forbid you're not going to pay taxes on that money. Do you see what I'm saying? They have tricked us into believing that we are in control of our money, and we are absolutely not. The bank is in control. They're paying you 1% or less on your money. And how much are they making on your money? We're going to get to that because it's not what you think. It's way more than you think. But
how do we get control of our money, Chris?
I'm going to tell you, all you need to do to get control of your money is change one thing, folks. And that's what the next slide's going to be. But I want you to look here. This is something I see a lot. And I never thought this was real until I started talking to hundreds of people. And I meet people all the time, and they've got tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account. Okay. And I'm like, wow, you've been a good saver. Good job. And we're going to fix that. We're going to change one thing to fix that problem. But then I look over on the other column, just like you see, and they've got tons of debt. They've got all these credit cards, all these car loans, boat loans, and everything else. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. You got all these debts, but you got all this money sitting in your savings. Why? Oh, well, the money in the savings, that's for an emergency. Great. So that money's sitting there waiting for an emergency, losing about 1% per year, while over here on your debt side, you're paying 10 to 29% on those credit cards, and they're gladly taking your money. So you're never getting ahead. You're going deeper and deeper, and your family is losing that money every year, and you're just giving it away.
I've always wondered that, Chris. Like, why do Americans do that? They put money in savings that earn zero interest, but they have credit cards, car loans, boat loans, toys. Let's call them adult toys. Wait, no, that's not what I want to call them. You can call them adult toys. And 4x4 wheelers. They have all of this stuff that they're paying like 10, 12% interest on. Why do people do that? Why don't they understand that it's easier?
That is a great question. I wouldn't say I have the exact answer, but I talk to enough people where I have I have kind of an idea of this. And the idea is people feel secure when they look at a bank account and they see that they have a large balance there. There's a sense of warm security. There's a sense of, oh my God, I got an emergency fund if something happens. It's just, that's what we've been taught to feel, right? When we put money in the bank, we are taught to feel that's good. When we buy things, we're taught to feel that's good. Like, and with food, like we've been taught to eat and we feel good eating. Like all these things are the same emotions, right? The one thing that doesn't really feel good is saving, right? We're saving money doesn't feel great. So when we do it, we feel really good that we did it, and we don't want to disrupt that. Oh my God, we don't want to take that money out of there. God forbid I take the money out of there to pay off the debts. I'm not going to be making my 1% anymore. And then my emergency fund is gone. And what happens? Folks, wake up.
I think let's take it one step further. You've got like this savings amount in your bank. So you feel good. Maybe there's 20,000 in there or something like that. But then I also think you believe that you own that boat or you own that car. It's my car, even though it's really not your car. It's the bank's car. If you miss a payment, they're coming for it, right?
Right.
You feel secure because it's my car, but it's false.
It's absolutely false. You don't own that. The bank does. You're just exchanging, because that's all money is a means of exchange. You're just exchanging dollars per month for the right to drive that car. Dollars per month for the right to drive that boat.
Or live in a house.
Yeah, or live in a house. And eventually you'll own that boat or that car. But when you do finally own it, it will have depreciated. It's not houses, but your car and your boat will have depreciated so much that you'll never get that money back. The bank always wins, folks. The banking function is the most profitable. Banking is the most profitable business in the world. And we have never been taught to know how to take back the banking functions in our lives. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. And if I don't get through it all today, that video will show you how to take that banking function back in your life. So wouldn't you want to take back the one most profitable thing in the world? Wouldn't you want to take back control of that? You should, and you will, and you have to, because if you don't, nothing's going to change. You're going to keep living just like this example shows. You got all this money in your bank account, losing money every year. Your warm and fuzzy feeling of having that money there, that security, is false. And over on the other side, you're bleeding out. The banks are laughing at you. The credit card companies are laughing at you. You're just giving them money you're literally, if you want to build wealth, you got to change one thing. All you need to do is take back the money that you're giving away. Think of that, credit cards. You got money in a savings account. What if we just took the money from the savings account, we paid off the Visa, and we took what we were paying Visa and we put it back in our savings account? What if we did that? How much did you just make? Well, how much is Visa charging you? 24%? You just made 24% in your money. How much is your 401k making right now? Is it making 24%? Probably not. Folks, building wealth is that simple. So it's just changing one thing. Let's go to the next slide so I can kind of really explain where you need to start, because there has to be a start point, and then there's really not an end point, but there's an awareness point that you're going to hit. So here's what you
zoom in on your slides a little bit there.
How do you zoom in on it?
You might not be able to. Usually it's a setting, but that's all right. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I have never done that, but now I learned something. All right.
Yeah, that helps.
Here's all you need to do. You want to take back control. You want to change your entire financial future. You need to change one thing, and that's where it starts. And that one thing you got to change is where your money goes first, just like it says. So let's go back through what we do with our money, right? We get our paycheck that we've been taught to do. We work for that paycheck. That money, some of it goes over to the 401k. Some of it over on the right goes over to pay your household expenses, your utilities, groceries, entertainment, and all recurring non-expenses, whatever. And then the rest goes in your checking, your savings. You notice how I've got like the Ghostbuster crosses through these? Because that's what we're going to change. If you're getting a match of 3 to 4% on your 401k, keep putting in 3 to 4%, folks. That's free money. And I can't do anything to give you free money. So if you're getting a match, by all means, keep putting in whatever it takes to get that match. But if you're
getting more than the match,
I would say no. But not in a situation where you've got debts, not in a situation where you want to take back control. No, because how can you retire with debt? Are you going to retire with a ton of debt? Like your 401k, what good is that going to do if you're buried in debt? It's not going to do any good.
No good.
I know all of you are thinking, I'm not going to have debt when I retire. Folks, if you only knew what I knew about the thousands of people that I've come across, how much debt they have going into retirement is staggering. It's sickening is what it is. And it's sickening. And then I look and I see how much money they're putting into their retirement accounts and they're maxing them out, or they're putting 10% and all their money's going there. Why? Oh, well, I got to have enough money to retire. I'm behind the 8 ball. Well, they're giving up control.
So if you're not going to put your money in your bank, do you just get a safe and put it in your house somewhere? Linda Hughes wants to know. What's the answer, brother?
That's what we're getting to. So I talk about privatized banking a lot. You know, how I learned about this privatized banking thing is by surrounding myself around multimillionaires and billionaires. And I developed this pattern of these things that they were doing with their money. And this is the part where most of you, if you haven't already seen this, you're going to be like, oh, no way. This is going to sound too good to be true. But what if I told you there was a place you could put your money, that you could earn a guaranteed 4%, that you could get dividends every single year on your money, and then you could use your money and get uninterrupted compound interest. So what do I mean by that? Because this is very important. This is the trigger, the most important thing that wealthy people know that you don't. What if you had a place where you could put your money, continue earning uninterrupted compound interest, but yet still take that money out, but never stop earning money? In other words, you put your money into this privatized bank, an IBC policy. We're going to talk about what that is. You continue earning interest on your money. And when you want money, you don't take your own money. You take an insurance company's money out at a lower interest rate than what you're earning. So what numbers are we talking about? 4% guaranteed. And then the dividend in the companies that we use is 2.2. You're earning 6.2% in 2020. How much do you borrow the money from or for? 5%. How much are you ahead? 1.2. Did anyone, when we talked about their bank account, was anyone making 1.2%? Maybe. If you were making 1.2 and you went to your bank and you took all your money out of the bank, how much money is the bank going to pay you? Zero. They're going to pay you. In this, how much are they going to pay you for taking all your money out? 1.2. And not only that, we then are in control of our money. So what are we going to do with that? So we're going to take the money that we would have normally given to our 401ks or above and beyond the match, or we're going to take the money that we normally would have just taken and left in our savings or put in our checking or savings, and we're going to change one thing, and that is where it's going to go. You see, now it's going to go into this account, which is going to look and feel just like your bank account, except for it's going to pay you a much higher guaranteed rate. It's going to give you dividends, and it's going to give you the ability to then take that money out. So now stay with me. This is kind of a busy.
What's the IBC policy?
Infinite banking concept. So some of you are probably thinking, well, what the heck is this privatized bank? Well, you want to know what it is? I'll put it right out there. It is a specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policy. That's right. It's exactly what it is. It is not a whole life like you've ever seen. You think of a whole life insurance policy, you think Dave Ramsey says they're terrible. You think Susie Orman says they're terrible. They're right. Regular whole life is a terrible place to put your money. But yet, why do banks put more money into whole life policies than anything else that they put money into? Why do banks own more whole life than they do all the land in the buildings combined? Look it up. Look at Bank of America's balance sheet. It's right there in front of you. Why is it that every wealthy person, multimillionaire or billionaire, use this as their source where their money goes? Well, it's because they know something you don't know. You just think whole life is for money when you die to somebody else, right? But banks and wealthy people and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all them, they figured out how to use this for banking. You see, that's the difference. It's a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. And this vehicle, this IBC policy, commonly known as privatized banking, is a specially designed, and I want you to really focus on that, whole life insurance policy from a mutually owned large insurance company, one like a Mass Mutual. Okay, that's the company that one of the main ones we use. You put your money in there. See, most of you are thinking, if I put my money in a whole life, I can't take that money back out. Absolutely incorrect with how we do these. You see, you put your money in this policy, we are not going to just take it out. We are going to actually devise a plan to put money in and take money out. Because why the heck would you ever put money into this thing and not take it out when you know you're going to make the same interest rate, the same dividend, even if you took all your money out? That would be stupid, is what it would be. And what are we going to do? We're going to take that money out of this account immediately in the first 30 days. You make a deposit, you're going to take it out immediately in the first 30 days. And if you've got debt, what we're going to do is we're going to snowball that debt. You've heard this from Dave Ramsey. It's the same strategy. We're going to take your lowest balance credit cards and we are going to organize them into what we call a map. We do this for you. We put them all on a map and we are going to basically take money from this IBC policy. We're going to pay off those debts, but we're not going to stop there. Even though we took the money out, we're still making interest on that money. We're going to pay off debts like credit cards. And as we pay these credit cards off, what we're going to do is we're going to take the exact payment you were giving to Visa, Discover, Amex, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever credit cards you have. If you're paying them $100 a month and we pay that credit card off, we're going to take that $100 a month and we're going to put it back into your specially designed and engineered whole life. And then what we're going to do is 3 months later, we're going to take money out again and we're going to pay down or pay off another credit card and another one and another one. And eventually when all the credit cards are gone, we're going to move on to your car payments. And we're going to take all this money and we're just going to keep snowballing it to pay all your debts down. But see, the one thing you might not have caught here is every penny that you ever put into this banking policy, this specially designed and engineered whole life, that money never ever stopped earning uninterrupted compound interest, which means every year that goes by, that money gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Even if none of the money's in there, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It just keeps making money. Albert Einstein calls uninterrupted compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Look it up. He understood it and he understood the power of it. And we need to understand the power of uninterrupted compound interest. Now, don't mistake uninterrupted compound interest with compound interest. Compound interest involves you putting money somewhere and never touching it, because if you take it out, you interrupt the interest. That's not good. There isn't a business in the world that uses compound interest because they understand that's not how you move money. You need a place to put money where you can actually put it there and then take it out without interrupting the interest that you're earning on it. And this vehicle is the only vehicle that we know of on earth that allows you to do that.
Hey, Chris, this is a good question I'd like to interrupt. Sure. Is this good? Pam Wilkerson wants to know, is this good policy to have if you have no debt?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we haven't got there, but we will. Absolutely. It actually works better if you have no debt, but so many people have debt. So I like to hit the debt thing because this is where people, are buried and they feel trapped. If you have debt, great. We're going to pay the debt off first. And then once all the debt is gone and all the car payments are gone and all the boats are paid off, what you will have done now is you will have recaptured all the money that you used to give to the credit cards, to the car finance companies, to the boat finance companies, and every penny of the money you used to give away to everybody else, all those payments you make every month. Now those payments, they didn't go away, but now they're going into your account. How nice would that be? I want you to just think about all the credit cards you pay for every month. Think about those checks now going into your account. What would your account grow to? What would your account look like if every penny you paid to the credit card companies, to the car company, finance companies, and all that, if that money all went into your account, how much wealth would you have? I'll give you the answer. It's a lot.
A lot more than I got now.
Now, let's assume you have no debt. What was her name? Who said that? It doesn't matter. Let's assume you have no debt.
Pam Wilkerson.
Pam, that's what I thought. Pam, let's assume you have no debt. Now we're not trying to climb out of a hole. Now we've got money in this banking policy earning 4% plus the dividend, which brings you to 6.2 in 2020. You're making 6.2. Well, you don't have debt, but I can tell you right now, you're still buying things. You still need to buy a car. And you might be paying cash for a car. And if you're paying cash for a car, I urge you to think differently. Stop paying cash for cars. When you pay cash for a car, you lose the interest earning potential of your money when you take it out of your account and you buy the car. And what is a car? It is a depreciating asset, one of the worst depreciating assets you can buy. So you literally take your good dollars today, your best dollars, and you give them to the car company. You take home a beautiful, shiny car that lost 30% of its value when you drove it off the lot. Wouldn't it be way better just to find a method and a way to get all the money back for every single car you're going to buy, drive, and own? Well, guess what? See this thing that we're talking about right here? That's exactly how you do it. I don't have a demonstration to show you tonight, but in that video, I will show that. You can use this vehicle to basically buy cars. And then what you're going to do is instead of, paying cash and not making a payment, you're going to pay cash out of this account. Okay. And then you're going to take whatever the car payment would have been if you were to have financed it, and you're going to pay that back to yourself every month. Now, that might not make sense. You might be like, well, why would I do that? If I didn't want a payment, why would I make a payment? Well, because wouldn't it be okay to pay yourself back? I want you to think like you're the bank, because you are. If you were the bank, why would you ever have a problem paying your bank back? If you had to keep and use all the money, you would. You'd be like, oh my God, yeah, what else can I pay myself back with interest on? But let's go one step further. Let's just say you're like, okay, well, I don't need a car now. I don't have any debt. What else would I use this?
What about business debt?
Yeah.
Business debt?
I'm using mine right now. So I've been doing this for a while now. So I loan money out to other real estate. So here's how I use mine. I don't have debt, but I have commercial debt for my real estate companies. So when I got rid of all my personal debt and I paid off my wife's car payment and I got all these recaptures, my accounts just keep going up and up and up. So now what I did is I start loaning money to my company, to my LLC or my S Corp. And my company then with a promissory note pays me back at a rate of 6%. So when I loan the money to the company, that money just pays off the company's debt. The company was paying way more on that debt than what the company's paying me. But now, me personally, I own the bank. I'm making 6%. And I'm recapturing it. Yep. What we call this whole process is recycle and recapture. Or in other words, it's quite simply, be the bank and be an honest banker. If you're okay paying the banks and the credit card companies, well, then why would you have a problem paying yourself?
How about tax debt?
Tax debt? Oh my gosh. So can I just, I'll answer that one with one of my really close friends. So I got a friend, Brad, and Brad is a multimillionaire. Brad has no debt. Brad has no issues with cars. He pays cash for everything. And he has one of these banking policies. And you know why Brad started this policy? Because he wasn't making 4% in his bank account. He's like, well, if nothing else, I'm making 4 times more than I'm getting from my bank, or 3 times more. So I said, okay, Brad, well, let's really discuss how we're going to move this money, because successful businesses and people that, really know how money works, they move their money just like a bank. And I'm like, what are you going to move their money? I don't know. I don't know what to use it for. I said, well, you could buy real estate. He's like, I'm too busy to buy real estate. I said, okay, well, you could invest it into a private fund, then it would pay you 10%. So he did that. He took some of his money from his policy and he bought into a private fund, which pays him 10%. Every month, that 10% goes back to his policy. But then he had a bunch more money building up. And I was at dinner with him one day and I said, Brad, what bothers you? Like, what is the one thing you absolutely hate spending money on? Do you know what his answer was? Taxes. Instantly, he's like, Chris, taxes. I hate writing that tax check. I almost can't even do it. I can't write it. Every year, I got to pay the government more and more and more money. And I said, okay, so how are you doing that now? He says, well, quarterly, we set up a quarterly payment and I give the bank or the government money. And I said, well, great. What if we could use your banking policy to make all those tax payments? But in doing that, instead of you making quarterly payments every single quarter to the IRS, what if you made those quarterly payments back to your bank? Effectively, instead of getting all the money back for all the cars he's ever going to buy, drive, and own, he's going to get all the money back on all the taxes he's paying. There's more to that, but you can do it. And we do that.
So what about student debt?
So it works like a charm. It works like a charm. We could go straight down the line. It doesn't matter what kind of debt or what kind of things you buy. I don't care if they're toys, grown-up toys, adult toys, whatever it is you're buying. If you use this system and you use it the way that I show you how to do it, you effectively will get all the money back for everything that you ever buy, or drive, own, whatever it is. Because think about it. You're recycling and recapturing all the money that you would normally have given away to the bank. All that money is going back into your account. And while that's all happening, your money never, ever, ever stopped earning interest. So here's the easiest way to sum this whole thing up, because I don't want to spend too much more time on this. But I want you to envision in your garage, you have a vending machine. And every morning you walk out to your vending machine with a dollar bill and you put the dollar bill in the vending machine. But then all of a sudden you hear it spits your dollar bill back out. You're like, oh, it must be broken. You try to give it the dollar again and it gives you your dollar back. You're like, okay. But then all of a sudden you hear it pouring your coffee. You hear the sound of coffee going. You're like, wow, the thing's broken. I got my dollar back and now I got my coffee. But then all of a sudden the change drawer grows cha-ching, cha-ching. Sounds a little like that, and it drops a little bit of change for you. And you're like, this is sweet. So what would you do if you had a vending machine like that? Well, darn it. You'd go out the next day and you do the same thing. Well, let's see. Is today my lucky day? I'm going to put my dollar in. You put your dollar in, it gives you your dollar back. It gives you your coffee. But then all of a sudden, instead of it giving you a little change, it gives you 3 things of change. Ching, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You're like, holy crap. Every single day of your life, you would go out and put money in that vending machine and it would keep giving you a dollar back, give you your coffee, and every day you'd get more and more change. Folks, do you understand?
Oh, slow down, Chris. God damn it. You do this every time. So what you're saying is with this banking system, every dollar that you spend, every time you buy something, not only do you get that money back, you get to capture some of the extra change in terms of in interest.
Yes. I was going fast because I was getting excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have that vending machine. I have 7 of those vending machines.
And by vending machine, you mean this special whole life insurance banking system
policy. This thing right here, the infinite banking concept, the privatized bank. I have 7 vending machines. Sometimes explaining it in what it is tough. But if I just told you about that vending machine, and if you could go to Walmart and buy that vending machine, you'd be there in line. You'd put your name down on the list. Yep. As soon as one comes available, please drop it off in my garage. And you'd be out there using the hell out of that thing. Folks, this is the financial vending machine that I just described. It is the only vehicle on earth that does what I just said. You don't believe me? Folks, research this. Google it. This has been around for 200 years. It was created by the Rockefellers, and it's been used by every family that has money ever since. Don't believe me? Biden, not getting political. I don't care what side you're on of the fence, but Biden went public saying this is what he uses. McCain has gone public many times saying this is what he uses. GE, Amazon, Samsung, they use this.
So this is not a scam, and I would say the average person would think it's a scam because they just not used to it. But what you're saying is this is the system that the rich and wealthy and powerful and family homes like Rockefeller and such, and actually our own banking system, this is what they use.
Yeah, banks.
So why aren't we taught this? Why aren't we told about this? If it's so great and wonderful, why aren't we told about this?
That is a great question. Why is it that your advisor never told you about this? Why is it that you've never heard about this? And if it's so great, of course you would have heard about it. You've heard about it your whole life. You've just never opened your eyes to understand this. You've heard privatized banking. You just never understood.
Actually, I have heard about privatized banking.
You have. You've heard about how banks you've heard of deferred compensation plans. You've heard of them, right? Bankers, when they get to be a VP, they get a deferred compensation plan. Well, you know what funds that deferred compensation plan? This specially designed whole life. You're darn right. You see, the bank is an entity. The bank can't just take out a whole life on an entity. It needs a body. Well, the bank needs a insurable interest. And to get an insurable interest, they need an executive that the bank would suffer a loss if that executive died, quote unquote, insurable interest. So the bank promotes somebody to a VP. Well, when they do that, that VP gets some additional things. They get a raise. Okay. They get a thing called the deferred compensation in most cases, and they get a fully paid up life insurance plan. Woohoo! Someday when they pass, the husband or the wife gets a check tax-free and they never had to pay for it. So what does what does the bank do? They call up the insurance company. Hey, Mr. Mass Mutual. Hey, yeah, I need another one of those privatized banking ones. We got a new VP. Woohoo! He's a real go-getter. How much do we want? I don't know. Let's do a $2 million policy, and we want to put 150. No, actually, let's put $1 million a year. And how much is that going to get me in death benefit? Oh, wow, great, $5 million. Awesome. Let's do that. And also put his wife down or her husband down as the beneficiary for $100,000. And then what does the bank do? It funds that policy. It takes our money, or it's called tier 1 capital, the safe money, and it puts it into these insurance policies. And as that money goes into the insurance policy, what does the bank do? The bank uses it for operations, builds more branches, buys more stuff, whatever the bank does, they move it.
So this is Angie Davis wants to know, so you borrow money against your life insurance policy. That's not quite right, is it?
No, it is. It's absolutely right. So thank you, Angie. So we didn't talk about the mechanics of how this works, because really you put money in, and what you're going to do, your money's never going to leave your account. So what you're doing is taking loans from your policy. So where are the loans coming from? The insurance company's general account. But when you think of a loan, you think of the loans like what we've been talking about. Something, when you take a loan, you have to pay that loan back. The insurance company will never, ever ask you for the loan back. Why? Because the insurance company, what we seem to have forgotten is they made a promise to pay out a death benefit upon your graduation. And I don't mean graduating from college. You know, the big graduation. They're going to pay a death benefit out.
Pie in the sky.
That big graduation day. They're going to pay a death benefit out. So when you take loans from these specially designed whole life, you are essentially leveraging your death benefit. The insurance
company deduct it from the death.
Of course. Like, well, you know, Chris just took I just paid off Larissa's SUV. It was $58,000. I took a loan for my policy, paid off her SUV, took the 954. What's that?
You just bought it.
I know. Of course, I bought it. And when I bought it, I didn't have enough in my policy because I had it loaned out to Chris, with my friend Chris, at 12% on a private loan on his real estate deal. So we took a loan out from M&T Bank. And we were paying M&T Bank $954 a month for this SUV that Larissa got. It was her push gift. So then I got that money back from Chris for that deal. He sold his real estate deal. I got paid back. I then put the money back into my policy, paid the loan off that I took out to buy Chris's real estate deal. I took the money back out. I paid off M&T Bank. And instead of just paying the car off, which is what you've been taught to do, your big thing is pay the car off. I didn't just pay the car off. I took the $954 that I used to give to M&T Bank. And guess who gets that $954 now? My banking policy. My bank gets that money. And that $954, do you think that includes a little bit of interest? Oh, yeah. That M&T Bank, those ripoffs were charging us 5.4% on that car loan. So guess who's getting 5.4% now? I am. But you know the best part about that is every month that $954 hits my banking policy, that's $954 I can take out the moment that check clears my banking policy. So all I'm doing is I'm just moving money. And if I have time, I'm going to walk you through how moving money works for banks. But I just need you to understand that this system has been around forever.
How is this different from taking a loan out from your 401k, though?
See how I have that right here? Go up. See how you're taking loans here?
Hold on just like that. There we go.
Okay, so if you have money in a 401k and you have loan provisions, you can do almost the same thing, except for when you have money in a 401k and you take a loan, the money that you took out as a loan is not earning interest still. Okay? You stop the interest earning. However, you could do the same thing, and I would suggest it. You can see I got the idea right here. See the big arrows? If you got money in your checking, you could do the same thing I just told you to do. If you got money in a 401k, you could take a loan from your 401k, pay your debts off, take the payments from your debts that you were given to the car companies, the credit cards, and take those payments and put them back in your 401k, effectively doing the exact same thing I just told you to do with this specially designed whole life could be done with a 401k. But there's risks. Let's just say you get let go from your job while you got these loans out to pay these debts off. Guess what? All those loans become immediately due and payable. And if you can't pay them, they're taxed and maybe penalized if you're not 59 and a half. So there's risks.
But most importantly, you interrupted the compound interest.
Absolutely. You interrupted the compound interest. There's lost opportunities if you were in the market and the market was actually going up. And you now have risks of, if you lost your job, you leave your job, a better opportunity comes and you got this loan holding you back. It's like, how many of you have pets, right? I have 5 cats. I'm a cat guy.
Ew.
So, I know. I love kitty cats.
Man up, dude. Get a dog.
Nope. I don't have a dog. I love my kitty cats. But I trapped, right? Like there's some places I can't go because I've got kitty cats that I need to find someone to watch. Well, that's kind of what a loan from your 401k does. It traps you. You follow what I'm saying? I'm trapped because I can't go everywhere when I got cats. Well, when you take a loan from your 401k, you're kind of trapped. So all I'm saying
let me answer a couple questions. Questions. They want to know if I'm using this system. I actually just started with you. So Chris is walking me through my own system and we got to finalize a few things there. And then somebody wants to know, can this work if you're 60 plus years old?
So it gets tough at about 70, but I have actually one of your I think subscription members. She's such a sweetheart. I'm not going to use her name. She's 73. We built her one of these plans.
She just turned 74.
74. She's so freaking awesome. And this is working for her. And she's doing exactly what I just showed. And she's 74. So if you think you're too old at 50, you think you're too old at 60, listen, you might be too old to buy life insurance at 60 because it's too expensive. We're not using this for life insurance. So if you're 60, you're going to have the same amount of cash as a 40, 30, a 20-year-old, but you're not going to have as much death benefit. So the only moving part when we build these banking policies is the death benefit. If you're older, you're going to have a lower death benefit. That's all there is.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that Chris has put together just for us this free training. This is the website to go check it out. You got to do the /duckv because this is specifically for people on this video. I promise you. A lot of people, influencers and such, say, "Oh, this is just free training just for you." But no, seriously, this is just for us. So make sure you go to that website. It goes over the system he's talking about. And it's completely free. It's normally $97 in-person seminar, but now this is totally free for just my tribe.
And folks, it's really that good. I'm serious. Like before I got on here, I hadn't watched the video in a while because I don't like watching my own trainings. And I just was watching it while I was waiting to jump on this training, and I'm listening and I'm like, holy shit, this is some golden knowledge. And I hate to say that. I'm not trying to sound egotistical or pat myself on the back, but sometimes you got to reward yourself for doing something good. And you know what? Before we got on, I rewarded myself by watching it, and it was good.
So what about someone who's overweight or obese?
Yes, that's policy. So if you're overweight or you're obese or you have medical conditions, you will not get approved for these banking policies. But I want you to I don't want you to be like, oh, darn, I thought this was my answer.
There's a way around it.
There's an easy way around this. I want you to just think about that example I used for the bank. Remember, the bank's buying the policy on the VP. The bank's not the insured, the VP is. They borrowed the VP's life to have access to this banking mechanism that they're using, this privatized banking. So if you can't get insured yourself, maybe you're obese, maybe you just had the surgery 6 weeks ago and you wouldn't qualify until you got that about a year after that, or maybe you're just medically not healthy. Great.
I know
a son, a daughter, a family member, a spouse, someone that you have an insurable interest on, a business partner. Have them be the insured and you be the owner. In ownership comes control. You don't need to be the insured. It's the least important thing here.
Hey, Natty, talk to me afterwards, because what he just said was basically, Natty, you can own the policy, but the person insured could be one of your kids or a family member, somebody you trust, or even one of your executives, Natty. Like she owns her own business. Like your manager, your partner have insurance policy. So talk to me later, Natty, about that. I hope that's helpful. There was something somebody said, it was pretty funny. She said, "Oh, what about, can you use this for rent?"
Okay, that's a good question. Now, notice on this slide, now let me just kind of make this big again. I want you to really look at the very top here. Do you notice how I have your household expenses over here separate? So you get your paycheck, but your paycheck's still paying your utilities, your grocery, your entertainment, and all recurring non-debt expenses. So can this be used for rent? The answer is yes, but you absolutely would not want to use this system to pay your rent and your household expenses for at least the first 3 to 5 years. And why? Because this system is designed to basically grow, and we have to capitalize this system in order for it to be the most effective. If we just put money in and take money out and pay it to rent, you have no money you can recapture. If you pay your rent with it, what are you going to recapture? You're going to pay double rent? I think not.
Let me summarize that for people, which is you're really wanting to use this to pay things that cost you interest.
Or something, or just something that will make you more money. Paying your utilities, your rent, it's not going to make you more money. So just use your regular income for that stuff for the beginning. Now, at a certain point in these plans, because of the uninterrupted compound interest, what's going to happen very quickly, usually 3 to 5 years after starting it, is every penny you put into it, you're going to be able to take out more than what you put in. Now, let me just kind of sum that up. It's very simple. If you put in $1,000 and you went back to this banking policy, 30 days later, you could take $1,200 out. Wouldn't that be cool if your bank did that? But then what if, like, you get down to the year 8, you put in $1,000 and you go back and you take out $1,300? Wouldn't that be pretty sweet? Folks, remember the vending machine? This does that. Every single day, every single week, every single month, you have more money than you did the day before, whether or not you are using the money or leaving it in there. It doesn't matter.
So
it's uninterrupted compound interest.
vending machine. Where do we get one of these vending machines? Lisa Feller's one of my followers in my challenge. Lisa, we're not here to sell you anything tonight. No. It's not a rush. Chris is just really to educate you on the money mindset. Yeah. But if you're interested in getting one of these policies, I guess they'll just reach out to me, or we're going to do a broadcast next week in my challenge, and we can give them more training and stuff and do something special there.
The only thing I would tell you is if you really, really like what you're hearing, just go to my website, go to chrisnaugle.com. So chrisnaugle.com. And then just once you get in there, go to the resources tab. There's a bunch of trainings on just this. Look for the money multiplier is what it's called. Just find those trainings and watch the trainings. Once you watch the training, there's a way to basically set up an appointment with me, and then you can do that. So if you're interested in just this, I didn't come here to do that, but I just want to teach you this, and I'm not even done yet. And I know we're running out of time.
We're out of time.
We're out of time. That sucks. But so the other thing here was just this wealth transfer. And I want to sum up one thing here. Why is it that lottery winners go broke? And why is it that professional athletes go broke when they make millions and millions of dollars? The answer to that is right here. We're not taught about money. We're not taught how to make our money work for us. We are not money conscious. That's the whole sum up to everything. I apologize, folks. I wasn't able to kind of walk you through how the bank makes money and how you can mimic that. But I just want to show you real quick here. This is how much money banks make on the money we leave there. The banks make 400 to 1,300% on the money that you leave there. And I'm going to leave it at that. So let me close this down.
I just to clarify that though, I wanted to make very clear, we're not guaranteeing them they can make 500% on their money, right? Because you went through that.
Oh God, no. I'm saying the banks, remember the banks are using our money. In this system, you're using your own money. You're not using someone else's money. We're not going to cover that right now. You could, but we're not. So you're not going to make 500%. That example was just showing you how much more the banks make than you do on your deposits. In this system, how much are you going to make in this system? Well, I don't know. Are you paying Visa 29%? Well, recapture that 29. You just made yourself 29% plus the interest dividends you're earning in the policy. You're making money twice, folks, just by taking back the money that you're giving away to everybody else.
Yeah, this is really funny. So Ava Liz says that's very disappointing. I'm not in the best of health. And I think
that's okay.
I know. We already covered this. It's like people have their filters and their blocks. You own the policy. You just put it out on the insured on somebody else, and that's totally, legal. So I don't know. Some people just, it's all right. We know, is this available in Canada? I think the answer is yes.
Oh, yes, it is. Thank you. Now, it's not available.
Not in Australia.
Not New Zealand, not Australia. I did extensive work trying to find it, and it's weird over there. That's all I can say. Canada, absolutely. Our northern neighbors, I'm here in Buffalo. You guys are my neighbors. Absolutely works in Canada.
Yeah, so there was a question earlier. What's the minimum to get started if they wanted to do it?
What's the minimum?
Yeah.
So to make this system work, to keep it really simple, it's take your age times 10. So I'm 42. Well, I'm going to be 43. But I'm 42 today. 420 a month would be my minimum that this would work on. So just take your age. If you're 50, it's 500. If you're 60, it's 600. Just do it times 10, and that's your minimum monthly. Or if you want to do annual, just multiply that times 12. There you go. So somebody took a policy on their grandson. You can use grandson. You can use grandbabies. You can use children. You can pretty much insure anybody you have an insurable interest on. I mean, if it's in your family, just think of your family members. Okay, you're helping them if you do that. You're giving them a paid life insurance policy, right? Just think of the bank. That's what the bank does. Don't get hung up on the fact that, oh, I'm not healthy, I can't do this. That's the least of our concerns. The biggest thing you need to understand from tonight is that you need to change your mindset. You need to change your money mindset. Nothing else is ever going to happen until you change your money mindset and you become money conscious. There's a money problem, and you have a money problem. We need to solve that. So that's what I needed to do today. And to start with that, the biggest thing you need to do is this training, this free training I gave you. Watch it, folks. It's going to take you 55 or 53 minutes. Please watch the training. I didn't make this for free for my own good. Like Duck knows, like I had my whole team working on this link that you have that's going to basically show you how to do this. And that link took us time. Let me just show you kind of how much time it took. This is cool because I got it right here. No, I don't. Anyway, I was going to show something else. I'm not going to show it. Oh, well.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, because I know we're out of time.
Chris looks at your financial situation. They design how you can make it work for you. If it won't work, they can tell you that as well.
Correct. The other thing too, remember you asked earlier, why doesn't everybody know about this? I forgot to answer this. This is one of the biggest reasons is your advisors, like what I was, we basically are not taught this. And you know why we're not taught this? Not because we don't know what whole life is, not because we don't know how to, do this kind of stuff. I'll tell you why. It requires, if we're going to build a plan like this for you that's going to work exactly how I showed it, I have to give up 60 to 90% of my commission in order for that to work that way. How many advisors do you know that want to give up 90% of their income so that you can have this system I just showed you? The answer is probably very, very few. I almost said zero, but very few. Life insurance agents, you think they want to give up 90% of their income? Heck no. Why do you think you don't know about this? Why do the wealthy know about this? Well, it's because they have advisors that are paid on retainers. So their advisors just tell them the truth. Your advisors are out to make money, and rightfully so. Like they got a living, they got to make a living. They're not going to take 90% cuts in their income so that you can understand how to build your banking policy. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, we got a lot of people who are saying they're going to set up an appointment with you. Thank you for your time and everything. And I just want to remind you guys, this is always on replay, so you can watch this later. But definitely get in on the free training there, moneyschoolrei.com/duckv. Make sure you do the /. That way you get the free training. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay $97, okay? And start there. And we'll be back next Wednesday night. So next Wednesday night in our challenge group to discuss. And I'm super excited. You're going to actually show us how to do real estate investing.
Oh, I got some
no money out of your own pocket, no money or very little money down, but no money out of your own pocket. And you're going to actually do case studies, right?
Yeah, a bunch of them.
You actually did.
We just got them all finished this week. That's why you see me all like turning red in excitement, because I just finished all these case studies to literally walk you through step by step how to use this banking system, to use it for real estate, how to buy real estate rentals with very little to no money out of your own pocket by using simple strategies that you just don't know how to do right now. Yeah. And it's wild. And then all this stuff, like, it's just, this is what I teach. This is how I teach it. This is my mission, is to basically bring money consciousness to people.
All right. Well, you're getting a lot of love on the feed, and I appreciate your time very much. And this whole banking system is a game changer. I recommend everyone right now just go sign up for that. It's free. You just go put that link in, and go get that free training. Right?
Absolutely.
All right.
No reason you shouldn't. You'll love it.
Thanks again, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you. And let me get you out of here. All right. Hey guys, this is the real deal, man. Chris is setting me up. If you trust me, that's all right. And we're going to get my policy set up here pretty soon. I've been traveling, so we can't do it. Just a couple of recaps. Remember, this is your own banking system. Stop paying interest to credit cards, to mortgages, to car loans. Recapture that interest. And the key principle is that you're doing uninterrupted interest, right? This is what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. It's uninterrupted compound interest. So the second you take money out of your 401k, you take that interrupts the interest, right? Or you take money out of your savings, that interrupts the interest. So that's key number one. Number two, you can, if you're in bad health, you can own the policy, but just insure somebody else that you have an interest in, right? So a kid, a grandchild, and they'll probably get the death benefit anyway once you pass away, right? I mean, once you graduate, as Chris says. But your health status does not change this, right? And the next thing, there's a minimum investment that it's going to take to start the policy. It's 10 times your age. So it'd be $470 for me. I'm 47. It'd be $470 a month, and then you lump it up. Chris can talk more about that. And I think that's all I wanted to say about that. So don't let this discourage you. It's available in Canada, not available in Australia, New Zealand. It's legitimate. This is what all the wealthy people do. You don't know about it because your financial advisors have, make money. Chris doesn't really make money for setting this up. He makes a very small commission, but his passion is to really get this out to the masses. And I'll tell you, I went to this conference, and you guys know I love to go to conferences. And it was a small conference at this gentleman's business, and he offered to set up a similar system for me where I would have access to his quote unquote team, and it was only going to cost me $20,000. $20,000 to access it. Not $20,000 for the policy, $20,000 to join his system and then set up the policy. And Chris is doing this for free. He's a good friend of mine. He's legitimate. I trust him as the day is long. And, reach out to me or to Chris. He's really good about personal messaging, so you can personally message him on Facebook. He did say go to his website, chrisnaugle.com. And it has his calendar on there also. So you can definitely watch this on the replay. And, we'll take your questions next week. Be around for next week in the challenge. I hope you guys are excited. We'll see you next time, all right? Thanks, guys.